job in the BFSi sector is not the final aim. Please understand, my dear friends. That is only the starting step. Because you are not going to stop anywhere. You are going to go this journey until and unless you become what you wanted to become. Some of you wanted to become a regional head of a great bank. Some of you wanted to become the national head of some of these organizations. Some of you even wanted to become the topmost position in that particular company. Nothing is impossible. So let me share a small presentation so that it will be easy for you to understand. The first slide, what I wanted to show you is the market capitalization of various companies in India. These are the top market capitalized companies in India. Now, for your understanding, let me just explain what is the meaning of market capitalization. Now, some of you may be aware, every company, listed company, what is the meaning of listed company? Companies will have their own shares, equity shares. Once they list that share in the stock exchange, that share can be traded. So the public can purchase that share and they can be an owner of that particular company to that extent, how many number of shares they are holding. So what do you mean by market capitalization? This keeps changing. Now, for your academic interest, I wanted you also to find out this set of companies, or how do you search in Google? Because you are BFSi people, you need to understand this market capitalization. So just type top market capitalization companies in India in Google. Then it will be available as a list. So you might be finding almost all these companies in different order, depending upon their share value that particular day. Now, what is the definition of market capitalization? Every company will have their own number of shares issued in the market. Now, this list, market capitalization, comprises of number of shares listed in the stock exchange multiplied by the share value of that company on the previous day. So as of yesterday, Reliance Industries has got the maximum value or market capitalization as of yesterday. That means if you multiply number of shares of Reliance into yesterday's share value, that amount will be the topmost in India. Now that is market capitalization. Now why that is relevant here, the market capitalization? You all know, any company, if it is a successful company, obviously people will be interested to buy their share. Point number one. Now, if the company is not doing well, their share value will not be going up every day, or it is not, or it will be a stagnant position. So as I told you, you can keep on continuing checking this company, which we are doing because we are BFSi people. Now I have been showing this to various candidates like you in the last 4 or 5 years. None of the companies have moved out of this. Whatever I am listing here, they are almost there. Only thing is, their ranking will be either 3 or 4 or 2 or 5. It may keep varying. Otherwise, in the top 10 to 15 names, these names are appearing in the last 4 to 5 years. Okay. Now, look at the names. First name, Reliance Industries, you know what they are into. They are into petrochemical, they are into telecom, etc. TCS, you all know, it's a IT company. Third is HDFC Bank. Now look at the highlighted names here. Now why I have highlighted HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, State Bank of India, LIC, Bajaj Finance, you all know these are all typically banking or financial sector companies. Okay. Now, I have not taken some of the companies like L&T. L&T also has got a very big financial company. Okay. I have not taken Bharati Airtel. They also has got a financial sector company. There is a payment bank called Airtel Payment Bank. I have not taken Reliance Industries. They have also got a payment bank. So the point I am trying to convey here is, without even considering the subsidiary companies, you see the names, almost 50% names are having in the market capitalization, which are directly banking and financial sector companies. So in the last 4 to 5 years, if the successful or market capitalized top companies in India, 50%, close to 50% is BFSi sector companies, then obviously they are doing very well in that sector, or that sector is doing very well in India per se. Okay. Now, if you consider the names like Reliance, Airtel, L&T, whatever I mentioned, they are also having BFSi, big companies associated with them, then the percentage will go up further from 50 to 60% or 70%. So to put it in a straightforward way, we can confidently say the biggest companies, market capitalized companies in India today, almost 50 to 60% is from the banking and financial sector. So please remember, my dear friends, you have taken a decision either by knowing this fact or unknowingly. But I wanted to convey that you have taken a right decision. Now just imagine if you would have taken a decision to get into textile. I am not saying that is a bad, but can you see any companies in this, in a textile oriented? Okay, I am not saying that is bad, but you see, that is not there in the top companies list. Some companies may be doing very well, like Raymond's or some other companies like Arvind Mills and all, but their names are not appearing here. Are you getting my point? So that's the first point what I am trying to say. In India, as of now, BFSI sector is actually controlling the market capitalization, so to say. Now, size of the sector. Now, is that sector is stagnant now or it is growing? I talked to you about last 5 years time. We have been seeing this as and when we started BygC company, we have been constantly monitoring these companies. But we wanted to check it, what was the previous history also. Now, when we moved back to 2001, market capitalization of the financial sector companies in India, which were only 6% that point of time in 2001. Within 23 years, that has moved up to 24%, and it is growing much faster nowadays. Okay. Now, look at the GDP growth, okay, of the penetration, what the credit to GDP ratio. Now, you all know India is becoming a 5 trillion economy or going in that path very, very fast. Okay. When you compare this with the emerging markets or already advanced economy, this is another pointer which we will need to understand. The credit to GDP growth, overall the GDP ratio is there. Within that, what is the percentage of credit? What is meant by credit? Now, some of you already there in the BFSi sector will understand. Credit or asset, it means the loan portfolio. Okay, what is the loan portfolio in that GDP? Because that shows the economic growth in that particular country. Now you look at here in the India, it is only 56%, whereas the emerging markets or advanced economy, which is almost near to 100 or more than 100, which shows the propensity for that company or the country to do very well in their GDP. So India is growing. There is a big room for India to grow. Now India is growing steadily. So there is much more expected in the credit portfolio here. Now, if credit portfolio has to grow, which is not under the textile industry or not under the IT industry, it is under the financial sector. So the second point, please understand, It is not only the listed company what I mentioned, but the sector is also growing, and it has to grow if India needs to be in the 5 trillion economy. These are another two pointers here what I wanted to mention. Sum assured to GDP. What is sum assured? Now we all know, slowly but steadily, India is also becoming more like a regulated country, because earlier people were not ready to take insurance for their vehicle, insurance for their life, okay, insurance for medical, etc. It is growing now because either the cost is not within their limits. So the sum assured will have to grow substantially. Now look at where India stands now. It is only at 29% compared to the developed country. It is 251%. Now how it can be 251? That means same person would have taken multiple insurances. Okay, that is why the sum assured. Otherwise, it has to be 100%. That means every person is more glued on to insuring their life or their items. Whereas in India, it is very, very low. So there is another room for improvement here and opportunity for that particular sector. Now, if insurance industry has to grow, which is also part of the BFSi sector. Okay. Another pointer here, mutual fund. Now, you all know earlier when you were kids, you probably would not have heard of the name mutual fund. But the small kids today will be able to understand because they are seeing ads on TV channels or newspaper quite a number of times. And you know, most of the ambassadors are coming. The cricketers like MS Dhoni, Sachin Tendulkar, Rohit Sharma, etc. They are all forming part of either an insurance or mutual fund industry. Yeah, because they are wanting India to grow particular sector as well. Why? Because there is a growing investment opportunity available in this particular sector. Please understand, mutual fund also provide you a very good vehicle for investment of your hard-earned money. So which has to grow. Now look at where India stands now. It is only at 12%. Now India has to become a 5 trillion economy. Either India has to reach 67% of 120 because UK and USA are already in that league. So you see what is the growth possibility for India. And if that has to grow, obviously BFSi sector will have to do very well. Coming to that 5 trillion economy, you all know government as well as the various economic from India and abroad also talking too much about India's growth story. India is growing steadily and the economy is growing sharply on a northern side. So as per the estimate, a country will have to become a 5 trillion economy. As per the research study, at least 8 banks in that particular country will have to be in the top 100. Now you all know why the reason, because I told you the credit growth has to happen. First slide, if credit growth has to happen, the banks will have to give more loans and the loan portfolio will have to grow up, the bank will have to grow. Second, we talked about insurance that has to be routed through the banks. The sum assured will have to go up. Most of the banks are having their sister concerns as insurance company or mutual fund company. So when these three things has to grow, minimum 8 banks should be there in that top 100. Now, as per 2020, only one bank from India, that is State Bank of India, is appearing in that particular list. There is a lot of things happening within India also. Now you understand, there is a merger, a historic merger happened last year between two major companies. Both were doing very well in financial sector. One is HDFC Bank and another one is HDFC Limited. HDFC Limited was the promoter company of HDFC Bank. They got merged with HDFC Bank. It was a mega merger, and soon after that, HDFC Bank becomes the number 2 bank in India and number 1 private sector bank in India. So you look at how the bank has grown faster. So there will be inorganic growth also happening like this along with the organic growth, what I mentioned. So you may be able to see a lot of banks getting merged or amalgamated to become a major bank. So that flow also will happen. And we have seen 27 nationalized banks getting shrunk to 12 banks, or State Bank of India associate banks merged with State Bank of India, PSU banks merged with a big PSU bank, becoming a much larger PSU bank. That is why now we have only 12 PSU banks existing in India. So all of this will happen. It will continue to happen. Why? Because we wanted to have stronger banks which will be contributing to larger goals of the GDP growth in India. Now we know BFSi sector is doing very well, and there is a good opportunity for Indian financial sector and economy to grow much faster. And we know what are the pointers driving home this point. Now look at the employment opportunity. Now, what are the employment opportunity? We all know, and I don't know how many of you read the newspapers yesterday or day before yesterday. There was an important aspect RBI has listed here. Now, this is slightly outdated, but I can give you much recent information. You can search in RBI. They have put forward an article on this. It used to be 74% of clerks and sub-staff working in, not 74, almost 50% was the ratio. Officers and 50 to 60% used to be the clerks and sub-staff. In some banks, it used to be more than 70% also. Now you look at here, it has come down to 24%, 30 to 24%. You know, none of the private sector banks are having more than very nominal percentage of clerks and sub-staff. Okay. It is not because that community is a bad community. It is only because that particular position is getting eliminated from the workforce because of digital intervention in these areas. Now, for your understanding, in your younger days, when you are very small, if your parents were taking you to banks for opening your savings account, they will be carrying all documents. There will be an assistant there taking the photocopies from the photocopier. Okay. There will be one person coming and giving you tea or coffee. They all were regular employees or peons working there. Okay. Now somebody will be sitting and just doing your documentation verification. Somebody will be doing the account opening document, form filling, etc. Then that filled up form will be going to the branch manager's area or the second in line. They will be verifying this, and a branch manager will be approving. Once it gets approved, you will be going to the teller or cashier to pay the initial deposit. They will be putting a chapa and giving you the acknowledgement. This used to be the process at that point. Once the account gets opened, you will be going to a third person and he will be providing you the checkbook after notifying the registers, etc. and you will be getting the check. Okay. If you wanted to have a locker to be available, you will have to visit a fourth person. You know, there used to be some 15, 20, 25 people working in a bank, and everybody is compartmentalized and they will be only doing their job. Now we have moved so fast. If you are going to open a bank account here to any bank, first and foremost, you don't need to visit any bank. You can do the account opening sitting at your home just by clicking 2 or 3 or 4 keystroke. You will be able to open your account, and all of these things will come to you, to your house, whether it is your debit card or checkbook or the account opening copies or documentation copy, verified copies, etc. That is the reason why you could see the manpower decrease happening in the clerks very, very, very fast. Now you look at the total banks in India, it is 93. Okay, there are about 15 lakh people working here. And that doesn't mean that banks have stopped hiring. Banks are still hiring a large number. But what I'm trying to say is this is the total of officers per clerk. So when we take the number, they require close to 1.5 lakh staff members on a year-to-year basis. Out of this, earlier 75,000 to 80,000 used to be clerks and sub-staff. Now that number has gone up. Here, what you need to understand, one more point, when you become an officer, your growth propensity is also going very high. Earlier, clerks will not be growing, their salary only will be growing. They will be always treated as a clerk. Okay, there will be one or two great changes happen, but they will never become an officer unless and until they write an examination. And that percentage used to be very, very low. So everybody wanted to have a comfortable life. They will be starting their job in a particular bank. They will be part of a union or something. They will stuck there. Once their children become an officer also, they will be continue to be clerks in that particular organization and they will retire from it. So we are seeing a gross change in that particular culture as well. Let me come to the banking career. Okay. Now, you all have decided to BFSi sector. I don't know whether it is knowingly or unknowingly. Now, today onwards, if somebody is asking you a question, you have to be very clear why I wanted to be a BFSi employee. So if you ask an IAS officer, they will tell you exactly, they are not joining that organization. None of the IAS officers, because I have known plenty of IAS officers in my career when I used to be working with HDFC Bank. We have started a program actually for IAS officers. That's why I'm telling you. None of them, whomever I have interacted, all of them unisonically told me that, sir, I wanted to serve the community. None of them told me I will be getting a chauffeur-driven car in the entire life. I will be getting a quarters of my own. I will be getting so much power. None of them told me this. So, it is part and parcel. Now, none of you should be talking too much about the wealth or the amount which you will be able to get. Yes, it is part and parcel of once you become a BFSi sector employee, which will come to you. Okay? But you should be talking more about it is one of the huge sectors. So I've got a lot of opportunity to do an excellent job here. I don't need to change or shift my career sector every now and then because the sector will be giving me much more than what I can do. Second, there are very large, great companies whom are employing employees and where I can find a place. Not now, but on a later stage, I will be able to do it. Now, as I mentioned, they require lots and lots of employees on a year-on-year basis. Non-layoff prone. That is another important point. Now, we have seen lots of companies during the difficult times. Now, all of you will be aware what happened during the COVID period. Most of the sector companies either terminated their employees, most of them, or they have reduced their salary. They have not been provided increments, bonus, or promotion during that period. Okay. Now look at the banking and financial sector because as I mentioned to you, we started our company in 2020. Soon COVID breakout. So we know very well, we were so much associated with most of these banking and financial sector companies. All of them were recruiting people through us during that period also. They were conducting training programs. None of them reduced their salary. Most of them give promotions and increments and bonuses also during this period. That's why I've mentioned non-layoff prone. Even during the difficult times, your company is able to give you what it is expected. So if you wanted to be in a company, don't look at a company when they are doing very well. When they are not doing so well also, whether they are taking care of your employee. That is what you should be looking at. Good salaries and benefits. Here, one more point I wanted to mention. Today I'm sitting and talking to you, okay? And I've grown in this system. I should be ready to accept whatever comes in my way because I should be only looking at the goal. Dear friends, I started my job for 600 rupees per month. 600 rupees per month. Can you imagine? 600 rupees. Today, my 1 minute worth 600 rupees. 1 minute. If I have to give a lecture outside, I will be charging lakhs of rupees to that particular organization. But the journey you need to understand. I can't ask my company at that point of time, almost 35 years back when they recruited me, no, you give me 1 lakh per day, then only I'll come. They will say you go off. So I was ready to accept. And my job as on today, we work for 10 hours or 11 hours, even though it is our own company. But when I started my job, I used to start my work at 6 o'clock in the morning to late 8:39. So you can imagine how long, and it is like a lecture like this. I used to be a college lecturer. And 600 will not be enough for you to carry out I will be starting my tuition classes from morning 6 o'clock to late evening 9 o'clock. During the period 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock, I will be delivering my lectures in the college also. So all of it will not come so easily. I have seen people, especially the Gen Zs, talking about, I wanted comfort in my life. I wanted a comfortable job. The comfort nobody will give you. You will have to earn for it. You will have to understand how difficult comfort. Even if somebody is paying you 1 lakh, sitting idle in office, if they are not allowing you to go through your mobile, if they are not allowing you to see any cartoon or any movie in the laptop, etc., sitting idle, they are paying you 1 lakh rupees, you will go mad, my dear friends. Prisoners are the most depressed people. They don't need to do much of work. And if they are much bigger criminal, they will not be allowed to put outside also. Small pickpocket people will be allowed to do some work there, gardening or something. The big criminals, they will be put behind or put into a cell where nobody will be there to talk. They can't do anything. They will be giving sumptuous food 3 times or 4 times in a day, but they can't talk to anybody. Now, if you see that is a comfortable job, no, most of them will be depressed and they will be going mad. So what I wanted you to understand, you're all young people, get into a job where you can interact with lots and lots of people, where you can provide solutions to people. Don't think that I am looking for only salary. I wanted nobody to question me. World is like that. You should be appreciating if somebody is giving you direction. Somebody is giving you advisors. Somebody is giving you the right path to go. Somebody is shouting at you because they like you. Otherwise, they will think that let her perish or let him perish. I have nothing to do. So there is always 2 ways of looking at it. And you always will have to look at the positive way. When you become positive, you will start seeing, I am walking through a beautiful garden. You will not be worried about the thorn because you are not going to touch that flower because you are going to appreciate only. And even if you are going to touch that flower, you will be careful of the thorn and you will be only touching it gently. You understand? And good career growth possibilities or opportunity. That's what I wanted to mention to you. Now, when you get into BFSi sector, don't restrict yourself. I will be only joining #1 bank in the country. I will be only joining as a branch manager. I'll be only joining for 3 lakhs per day salary. Nothing. Because it's a journey. whatever coming in my way, you can be very clear. Am I getting a good job? Am I getting a platform where I can learn something? I can enrich something. Again, see, I am not talking a story here. I am talking from my life because I have experienced that. That's why I will be confident enough to tell you. I wanted to become a bank officer, my dear friends. Okay. At that point of time, you have to take either commerce or maths to become into a. Today, lots of engineers are joining, lots of doctors are joining banking. Okay. Lot of lawyers are joining. But at that point of time, this used to be because always the interest calculation, IRR calculation, EMI calculation, everything used to be happening manually. So they wanted people who has a BCom or a max background so that the calculations will not go wrong. Okay. So I have taken mathematics as my career, educational background. You know, my father used to be a banker. My father's younger brother, he used to be my hero. Okay, role model. Because he took MSc Mathematics. I also wanted to take MSc Mathematics because of him. He became a bank officer. I also wanted to become a bank officer, you know. But I never got an opportunity in the bank. The first opportunity came as a lecturer in a college soon after my post-graduation. I took up that opportunity. Then I realized getting into the bank, because that time the computers were coming in. I'm talking about the early 90s. Some of you were not even born at that point of time. In the late 80s and early 90s, I have done my postgraduate diploma in computer. I have upskilled myself because I thought that should not be a barrier when they choose me. I didn't get. So I thought I need to have an experience in the IT sector. I became a programmer. I became an IT professional at that point of time. I moved places also. I never restricted. I am basically from Kerala. I moved to Bombay. Okay. I worked there as a programmer. But you know, my inner mind, I wanted to become a banker. Soon I got an opportunity when the bank started, HDFC Bank. I joined the company as an IT professional because of my experience. I started learning a lot of other activities during my banking period. Within 3 years, I became a proper banker, retail banker. And then the rest is history. Even today, I am enjoying my BFSi and the banking sector. So what I'm trying to say is you need to have a long-term goal to reach there. If you are getting into an NBFC company, in a good company, get in there, because that is not going to be your final aim. If you are getting into a small finance bank, get in there. If you are getting an opportunity, join as a salesperson, get in there. If you are getting as a cashier, get in there. Don't look at the profile, because that is not where you will be positioned for entire life. You will be watching there. You will be understanding. If I wanted to grow into the RM level, what do? I need to upskill myself in the wealth management. Okay, then let me see whether is there any course where I can do my wealth management. If I wanted to be an investment banker, what do I need to do? I need to do certain certification. Can I do that? I wanted to be in the broking sector because the broking sector salary is very high and I will be advising people on their investment. What do I need to do? I need to skill myself and certify. I need to clear certain NISM examination. Why can't I just get myself NISM certified? So these are the things you will be doing during that period also. Getting a job in the BFSi sector is not the final aim. Please understand, my dear friends. That is only the starting step. Because you are not going to stop anywhere. You are going to go this journey until and unless you become what you wanted to become. Some of you wanted to become a regional head of a great bank. Some of you wanted to become the national head of some of these organizations. Some of you even wanted to become the topmost position in that particular company. Nothing is impossible. I am born in a village where there are only 30 houses. Okay, I've not studied in any nursery or something. I started going into my first standard. Okay, today I can proudly say I have achieved whatever a Harvard Business School person can also achieve. Nothing can stop you, my dear friends. But that intention should be very clear, and you should be ready to work.